Welcome back, and today we are playing the Alpha Jet E. It's the French version, and if you read the title you might think, well, is it actually possible that the French plane is better than the German one? Well, the answer is no. But in reality it's actually a bit of a trade-off. Now you are gonna sacrifice a little bit of flight performance if you run the setup that I'm running right here. Because I'm running two guns on the wings and none in the bottom. Because the bottom gun is actually a lot heavier than the ones on the wingtip. So I'm gonna be running two, which in turn is slightly heavier than the Mauser 27 that you will find on the German variant. It's also weight distribution, because it's now on the wings, your wings are actually a lot more prone to snapping off, and you want to be careful of this. The issue is that the one trick of the Alpha Jet is that, well, you are able to pull very hard at high speed, and now you actually need to be somewhat careful of that. So that's a little bit of a kick in the nuts. You also of course don't have any countermeasures, but this doesn't really impact you too much in this plane. It is definitely nice to have to be able to go a little bit slower speeds and not worry about getting aim-9 across the map. But in general you essentially trade in some flight performance for just much better guns. These guns, as you are seeing on the screen right now, just hit tremendously hard, and I've had a much easier time just cleaning house in lobbies. Yes, the Alpha Jet A feels a little bit better to fly, but this thing I think feels a lot better for actual air RB, because you can actually, well, kill people if they get in front of you. Which is welcome after flying the Alpha Jet A, because, well, I was getting absolutely fed up with the amount of assist I was getting. If you saw the video, you saw that that gun did absolute piss. Now you can of course opt to run only 130mm in the bottom of your fuselage, and that will of course make your flight performance almost the same as with the Jaguar A. However, I don't think it's enough firepower, and the wing-mounted guns actually have a bit more ammo. Now running 3 guns is also of course very valid, but I'm just more of a fan of having a little bit more flight performance, and the middle gun actually has less ammo. So at the end of your ammo cycle, so to speak, you actually just have an empty gun in the middle while the wing guns are still firing. I wasn't a massive fan of that, but that's about it. For the overview, let's take a look at some of the gameplay here. MiG-19, MiG-15 dives on us. We reverse him, he's a little bit too fast. We instantly slap him in the dick, and he is now crit. Are we gonna pitch up to finish him? Depends a little bit on what's going on around us. There's the first Ariete, which is definitely your main, well, not competitor, because it absolutely rinses your ass. But that's a plane you will run into very often, and a plane you really can't do much against. It's 9.3, but essentially every game is 9.3, and I rather fight a MiG-19 than an Ariete, because the Ariete is literally you but better. It turns better than you, it accelerates better than you. It can basically just full send it after you, and it doesn't have to worry about anything. Whereas a MiG-19 is actually somewhat able to reverse, because, well, it's a little bit more prone to mistakes, and it's a little bit easier to punish if a bad player is flying it. Whereas the Ariete, they really have to mess up for you to make it somewhat viable. F3H pitches up for us. No, I'm not making a video on that. And we simply just kind of keep turning for a little bit longer. I know he has very bad energy retention, especially in a very slight corkscrew. I'm just gonna get his balls drained. Once he's slow enough, I'm gonna turn a little bit longer to actually get out of range of his aim-9, because I'm not going particularly fast myself now. There it is. And because we actually have a little bit of speed and put a little bit of distance between us, I have a pretty easy time dodging that missiles without much issue. Ariete gets on a 6, or it's a Sagittario in this case. It's a little bit easier to fight, but it's essentially the same thing. It just has less engine power, so it's a little bit more prone to punishing. But it's still a Sagittario 2, you're still gonna have a massive issue. I'm just gonna disengage. I wanted to fight the Sagittario on its own, but if he breaks off, that is even better, because now I have the ability to get a little bit of altitude and come back half a minute later. Yes, I kind of sacrificed my friendly over there, but that is not a fight I'm gonna be winning. Not in a 2v1, not in a 3v1, and also not in a 3v2. Just not a winnable fight, so I disengage, get a little bit of altitude, and the Ariete actually killed my friendly, and he's now flying away from us. Luckily, we do have to jump on him. He is gonna out-accelerate us in the long run, and if he dives a little bit away now, he will simply just gap me. And that's really all she wrote. Then these guys on the right will get close to us, and I'm gonna be dead. But I kind of need to kill this guy, and I'm hoping he panics, because I'm just closing in. And that's exactly what he does. We pitch up for him. We almost get the shot, not quite, and then he reverses his turn and goes straight vertical, giving me the easiest shot in the world. We take his plane apart, and we go up straight over the nose of the F3H. Now I do want to make sure that I have a little bit of speed in me, because I don't want to go too slow. So I'm actually going to dive into him a little bit to pick up some speed, to put in some ability to dodge his guns. The faster I go, the more he has to lead, and he doesn't just have to point directly at me. And after I kind of secured my position, I dove into him, I got him slow enough. I'm going to go horizontal, and once I am a little bit more behind him, we drop the flaps, and we are just going to pull straight into him. And just like that, you just absolutely shit on the F3H. This plane is 9.3 by the way. And yes, he could have played it a little bit better, but the optimal way for the F3H to be played is by simply getting it out your crew slot and playing something else. G91 comes in, and this is actually a more scary plane to fight, because it actually loses a lot of speed and is able to sit behind you. However, because he dove on us and he was already going a lot quicker, we have the ability to simply kind of reverse him. And then he does the same thing as the Ariete, and something that another Ariete in this video will do as well, and he reverses his turn. So I'm now just able to pitch up straight into him. Would have ended in a head-on, but I would have gotten a shot earlier, so he would have died. So he does the correcting and breaks off. But the thing is, once you are in the slow speed fight with the Alpha Jet and you are in the G91, you're going to be losing it once you lose your position. And at this point, he is going to have a very rough time getting rid of us. And then we plant ourselves directly on his ass, and we Epstein him in the back of his head. And that is going to be full game number 1, maybe number 2. I'm not keeping track. I am lobotomized. Here comes another F3H. And, well, basically the same thing. I'm not going to fly directly at him, because I know he has those shitty ass radar missiles. I think they're AIM 7Ds. And once I start getting a little bit closer, I pitch in, because I know that those missiles are not going to be able to be procced in time. And we miss the shot. We go up. And we just kind of see who we want to engage. Now, this is not a super flashy engagement. There's not really much going on. But I'm just looking around, seeing who wants to die. And the F3H right now is definitely a main competitor. Keep in mind, this is the second game I did in this plane. The first game was the one you saw all the way at the start. And I'm just still kind of getting used to this plane, getting used to the guns, and trying to make sure that I feel differences. So I'm going to be aggressive, I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm just going to see what the plane can and can't do, so I can provide you with the best kind of review, I guess we can call it. We get on the 6 of the F3H. Now we take his plane apart, we pull him, or we turn him into spare parts. He is on fire, that's some severe damage, and we dive away. We want to be mindful of the MiG-15 coming from above, but for now I have a feeling that I can maybe clean up the Alpha Jet A in front of us, except he's already dead, he's on fire. I'm gonna break off, and I'm gonna start going defensive with the MiG-15. Now I thought, well, I can just send it, because I just got done flying the Alpha Jet A, and we should be completely fine. But you can see that we are pulling 10 Gs, 14 Gs, and the wing falls off. Now there is not a funny cut here, because this time I actually managed to record it, because we managed to fly around for a little bit, and then we found this F-86A5. And he is flying perfectly straight. We crit him, we take his plane apart, and he's gonna be one with the trees. And that is the issue with these gunpods. You cannot pull as hard as you can with the Alpha Jet A. But that's really the main downside. Other than that, they fly virtually identically. And I kind of like it. I'm a fan of these planes. I'm not gonna play them all too much. I got a pretty good understanding of how they are like. And the main issue is that, well, Arietes, and we have an Ariete spammer on our hands. It's a Sagittario too. He's doing pretty good in it, so at this point I think, well, what am I gonna do? Because I'm not feeling super confident right about now, because if you are remotely sentient in the Ariete, I just die. So at this point I'm thinking of ways to trip this guy up by doing things that aren't really in the textbook, and doing funny things, so to speak. So we go up and over, try to get the shot in, not really able to, and he pulls in a very weird manner up. And I thought, well, I might be able to pitch into that, but there's a hunter coming in and I need to kind of make him fly away. We go straight for a little bit, we didn't dive in time, and now the Ariete is going to get really close on my 6. Now I don't want that. I'm gonna keep him a little bit fast, try to get out of his guns, try to make sure that he overshoots. And he does so, because he's going a lot quicker than us. And we get on his 6. Now, at this point, it is definitely not 1. And I was expecting this guy to just keep looping over and over again, until he eventually energy traps me. But at this point, I'm in a position where I can maybe, with my flaps, pull into the shot right here as we are going downwards, and then he makes the absolute critical error of, instead of going up, he goes down first, giving me a very nice angle on his loop. If I miss that shot, I'm obviously dead, but he took a little bit of a bad approach, and we instantly get a nice little shot. And if I'm running the 27 on the German one there, I either miss it, I get a crit, and then I die. And that's why I'm not a fan of the German one anymore. The German one is technically better, but I think this one fits Era B quite a bit better overall, which is something that I'm not really used to saying when it comes to, well, War Thunder in general. MiG-19 comes in and he is going to be engaging the F-86. I think it's an F-40, maybe it's an F-30, I'm not entirely sure at this point. And I'm going to keep the pressure on, because if this guy dies and it's an F-40, I'm going to have an issue, because the MiG-19 will absolutely rinse my ass, miss the first shot, but the MiG-19 is going pretty slow, and the second I get on this guy's 6, he's still faster than us, he gets crit and he gets shot down. And what does the MiG-19 do? He pulls full broadside in front of me while he's going not particularly quick. So he essentially just killed himself. I want you to look at the way they are playing, not the way I am playing. These guys are giving me free shots and that's why I am killing them. This plane has no chance going toe to toe with any of these planes. At least not at 9.3. The Hunter, the Swedish Hunter, the MiG-15. The Ariets, the Sagittarios, there's a lot of planes you just can't do anything about. And you need to look at their mistakes, not at what I am doing. I'm making mistakes too, but I'm trying to bait them into taking bad approaches, because if I play it safe, I actually just die. So I'm better off playing it a little bit more risky, trying to do kind of stupid shit, and sometimes it ends up working a little bit better. Now we have a MiG-15 and an Alpha Jet, and it's an Alpha Jet A. MiG-15 pulls over our nose. Kind of tries to bait us, but I'm able to go up here because I had a little bit of more energy on the Alpha Jet A here, so I'm going to be able to pull down onto him, and I will be able to pressure him so that he cannot pull up for my friendly, or at least I will attempt to do so, because he is kind of doing it anyway. He notices us and then he turns around, and you can see here that it's actually a lot slower than us, because he is very effortlessly pulling directly into my loop. So I'm actually gonna kind of try and stay in front of him, trying to bait him onto my ass so that my teammate can come in and get a free shot. However, the Alpha Jet actually notices it, breaks off and goes for the E-10 dart. And this is fantastic, because now I have an even better position. I don't go for him instantly, I wait for a good opportunity and then we pull in, and at this point he is too slow to do anything. So we just get a hit and don't do anything else. He then reverses his turn. And you can tell that we instantly get the shot. And this is why you have to keep turning into the same direction. And just imagine me clapping between every word I just did right there. And I don't mean clapping your mom like last night. I mean like actually clapping in my hand. And that's it. We then lose on tickets, because you know that's how the game is designed. And I go shoot myself in the head. Thank you all for watching. And you'll see me all, well, probably never, because I just shot myself in the head.